Starts now.
Well, we're continuing to follow breaking news in Surfside, where a condo building has collapsed. You're getting a live look at the scene. You just saw Julia Bagg there. She's been giving us live updates from the moment that she's got at the scene here, from after this began around 2 o'clock this morning. Multiple agencies are there assisting with rescues.
And of course, this is happening off of 88th Street and Collins Avenue. We know that the building is called the Champlain Towers building.
Situation is going to North Blueberry Hotel. My firefighters are going to get everybody out. We do have people on the balcony shouting that they are trapped inside of their apartment. There is no future way for them to escape.
And for the very first time this morning, we're hearing the moments that fire rescue crews arrived on the scene to help people who are trapped there in the rubble.
And take a look at this. This is intense video showing the moments firefighters, they're pulling a young boy from under rubble. NBC6 has several crews at the scene. Our T coverage begins right now. Thanks for waking up with us, South Florida. It has been just a tragic morning as we are learning more information about this building collapse. I'm Kristen Sanchez. Today is Thursday, June 24th.
And I'm Constance Jones. Chris Anderson has the morning off. Let's get straight to NBC6 reporter Julia Bagg, who's been at the scene for hours now. She has the latest information for us. Julia.
Right, I'm stepping off camera so we can we're trying to position to give you a better view here, Constance and Kristen, at the ongoing effort with firefighters on this ladder truck, right? This is part of the massive search and rescue effort underway after the northeast side of this building went down at about 2 o'clock this morning. Champlain Towers South is where this is. It's a beachside condo here in Surfside. We have been watching people come out from their balconies. You can see firefighters on the balcony right there going condo to condo. Let's go ahead and show you some of the damage. It's on the, once again, the northeast side. Residents telling us that they heard at least one loud boom. Some of them heard more than one. A resident told me she opened her sliding glass door and the backside of the building was gone. She was so shaken up she could barely speak about it. She talked to some of her neighbors, but she also told me she's certain that she has lost some friends, some neighbors here this morning. She was able to make it down the fire escape to get out, but as you see the remains here of the northeast side of this building, about 12 stories high, we know that several columns, so several condominium lines of the building, if you picture vertical lines of the building as these are stacked on the beach on the northeast side is what went down. The rest of the building that is still standing, that's where firefighters have been making their way, searching for survivors at the same time while urban search and rescue crews are digging into the concrete blocks, the mess of tangled, crushed rock that they are trying to see if they can hear people that they might be able to rescue, people who might still be alive underneath that rubble this morning. One survivor I spoke with told me she heard screams. She said she heard screams from her neighbor. She's the same one who I was telling you about, who was on the 9th floor and was able to escape. We know that there are survivors this morning. What we don't know is how many people may have been lost here. You were able to see earlier that rescuers pulled a young boy from the rubble as well, and that is the effort that continues. Go ahead and take a listen right now to a witness talking about the horror happening here this morning.
I've been living in Surfside the past 10 years. This is by far the most horrific thing that I've seen in my life, and I've been traveling around the entire world. There's no words to describe this.
Just an unspeakable thing to happen here this morning for so many residents. In the middle of the night, they were sleeping. As you take a live look here, they've moved the ladder truck, it appears, but those efforts ongoing. And I cannot stress enough what you are looking at right now. We do not know how safe, how sound the rest of this building is. It appears that the power is out here. Firefighters have been going condo by condo in the dark, trying to bring people out through their balconies. We've seen at least 3 people rescued just since we've been standing here watching this in the last 30 minutes. minutes as this continues. On the other side is the situation that you saw with the rubble. So Constance, Kristen, very fluid situation. All hands on deck here when it comes to firefighters, police officers from across South Florida coming together to help from as far away as Weston, Pompano Beach, setting up a mobile command center here, trying to come to terms with how many people may have been in this building when this happened this morning. For now, we're live in Surfside. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Julia, thank you. You know, you're talking about all those units. Take a look for yourself here. Honestly, if you were just getting out the door, you'll want to take a look at the scene here unfolding. What a massive police presence in the area, the town of Surfside. All of this unfolding right at 88th and Collins Avenue. Again, this happening around 2 a.m. So we are well into that search and rescue efforts, and you can see that it is not going to be ending anytime soon here. We're talking about a 12-story condo tower that partially collapsed this morning in the town of Surfside. So you can see that the areas around it just flooded with police presence. And what we do know right now, if you are waking up in the town of Surfside, that Collins Avenue, of course, and 88th Street in that area is shut down, as well as southbound traffic is being diverted west on 96th Street. Northbound traffic is being diverted at 85th and Collins Avenue. But if you do not need to be in this area, of course, stray away, stay on the mainland, and go ahead and just use US 195. Let those search and rescue crews do what they need to do. Give them the space to work here. But wow, what a police presence in that area, especially if you're waking up not even knowing that this building partially collapsed overnight. So what we do know right now is Tony Pipitone has been on the scene. Tony telling us so much about this building, built in 1981. Part of the Champlain Tower South collapsing this morning. Looks like you kind of moved directions a little bit. Where are you now, Tony? And tell me what you're seeing from your vantage point.
Yeah, we're now at the Surfside Community Center, which is where the people who live in that building have been relocated to, among them Gabriel Neer. Gabriel was living on the first floor of this building when at 1:19 this morning, according to his phone, what happened?
So the first collapse happened, and me, my mom, my sister went out. First collapse, we see the collapse happening on the pool side, and I saw a bunch of cars like going inside the car garage. So I panicked. My mom panicked. Everyone panicked, and a few minutes later, I decided to make a phone call to the cops. I mean, firefighters, everybody. I decided to want to check it out and try to get people out, but it was at that moment I saw the ground shaking. I felt like something was happening. At that time, I had to run out, and I told my mom, my sister, everyone start running. And so if that happened, everything starts to, out of nowhere, like cement of dust, sand like coming out, and we see this clouds of just dirt piling in it, and it was so hard to see, and it was nothing but just like dust of clouds.
Could you hear people?
No, because we were like one of the first people to get out, and I wish I could have heard people, but no, I didn't hear.
You were in Unit 111,
Yes.
which is in the 11 line, as they call these buildings. That would be what, facing the ocean or facing the street?
It was facing the ocean / facing the pool. So I'm assuming my apartment is demolished.
We look at video and we can see at least a third, maybe half of that building is sheared off and collapsed. How busy, how occupied was that condominium? I mean, were there a lot of people in those units, you think?
From my perspective, yeah. And people were, especially now with the summer, so people were taking time off, going out to the pool, and everybody going to the beach. Yeah, I saw a lot of people, and it was pretty busy.
Now, did you know anything about the work that was being done on the building? Did you notice anything unusual?
Yes, so they were going under remodeling for the whole building. They were planning on doing the roof for the next 3 weeks. I don't know if this had something to do with it, but I do know that they were doing the whole remodeling for the whole building for the next 3 years. That's from what I heard from the manager.
That's right.
So
They're doing the 40-year certification project,
Yeah.
which is going to take years. There was a big special assessment passed in April. Among that work is the roofing work you saw being done. Did you hear anything about any structural issues? Are people complaining about any shaking of the building at any time or any problems like that?
There has been some shaking going on with the windows when there has been storms going on, and windy especially too. When gusts of wind, it's just you can hear like the wind smashing the windows and stuff like that.
Were you there when they were building the building next door, just to the south?
No,
Okay.
I arrived there right after the building completed. So
Okay. What are you and your family doing now? You obviously don't have a place to live.
we're still looking, hoping we hopefully find some hopes in the future. And the mayor says to stay patient, but we're still looking.
Are you put up in a hotel now, or what's going to happen?
That's our plans for now. Yeah.
Well, Gabriel Neer, thankful, obviously, that you made it out. Unfortunately, some people didn't, it appears.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for them, and just wish nothing but the best for them, and prayers up for them.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Well, Gabriel Neer, who was in the first floor, thankfully for him, the first floor of this building as it started to collapse at 1:19 this morning is what his phone indicates when this started. He described something of a slow process, but obviously once a building starts to lose its structural integrity with that much weight coming down, it goes quick, and that's what others describe, that puff of cloud, of dust and debris that is caused by the forces of a building that high coming down. How high? 159 feet high, 12 units on each floor or thereabouts. 12 floors occupied of that 13-story building that was built in 1981, and as we mentioned, was undergoing its 40-year certification process. So construction work, roofing work, at a minimum, had begun. And again, we have no idea whether that had anything to do with what happened out here, but a building on the ocean front for 40 years is expected to suffer some concrete and structural stress, we'll say, from the chlorides that come from the salt water, and that's part of that 40-year certification process. Gabriel told me that the plan was for a 3-year process, so that would imply that there was significant work to be done, not just re-roofing and some patching, but we'll have to wait and see what the building department says. We did talk to a city commissioner out here, Ileana Salzhauer. We'll turn that around for you a little later and hear what she says. But she just describes this as a tragedy that is just unimaginable as people wake up in the town of Surfside, a little town of 6,000 people, waking up to this tragedy this morning. Reporting live in Surfside, Tony Pipitone, NBC6 News.